Hi, I'm Mark Schroeder from GSHC Surrogacy Agency, and today we're speaking with Eric Stovall, a surrogacy and adoption attorney in Nevada. How are you doing today, Eric?
Doing very good. Thank you, Mark.
During a surrogacy journey, there's obviously going to be a lot of medical costs and medical expenses associated. Can you explain how generally those medical costs are paid or how they're handled during a surrogacy journey?
In a surrogacy journey, that's obviously is going to require a childbirth and a pregnancy. And there's obviously a lot of expenses tied in with that. Ultimately, the intended parents are going to be responsible for the medical costs that the surrogate incurs through the pregnancy and through the birth, and if there's complications of that pregnancy after that. Now, most people aren't able to financially pay for that, and that is why they buy insurance, health insurance, to get them through that process. Your surrogacy agency will help you find insurance that the surrogate will have so that those costs, at least in part, are paid for by the insurance, and that's very important. Some intended parents are able to afford to pay some of the usual costs of childbirth. For those people, they may want to buy a health insurance plan that would cover complications of pregnancy. So if there's a real problem with the pregnancy and the costs are real high, that insurance policy would come in and provide coverage. But for the normal things, the intended parents would pay out of pocket. Those are both viable options that I see used all the time. It really depends on what the intended parents want to do.
Regarding the contract, how does the language protect against situations where the surrogate might experience complications or perhaps have a miscarriage during the journey? How is that addressed?
Mark, we do our best to draft contracts that are fair to both parties. The contracts that I draft are fair to both the intended parents and the surrogate. And I believe other surrogacy attorneys that do this work a lot have the same criteria. They want a contract that's both fair and also easy to understand. So there are clauses in my contract that talk about complications of pregnancy, including a miscarriage. And in that unfortunate situation, believe me, I've talked with surrogates that have miscarried and they feel bad about it. Obviously, the intended parents feel bad about it. But the contract will allow the parties to move forward from that and try the process again, do another transfer to see if it would work the second time. And of course, obviously we want the doctor's input in that because the doctor ultimately is going to make the decision of whether or not this surrogate just isn't cut out for another pregnancy and she shouldn't be used again. Or the doctor may say, miscarriages happen, and they do, and we should go forward with the surrogate a second time. But in those situations, we definitely want to let the doctor make the decision with respect to whether or not we go forward with the surrogate after a miscarriage.
This has been a conversation with Eric Stovall, a surrogacy and adoption attorney in Nevada. Thank you so much for your time, Eric. Really appreciate it.
Certainly, Mark. It was a pleasure talking with you and answering your questions. I look forward to, if there's any unanswered questions, be sure to contact my office. I'm happy to answer.